We saw in Mundaka 3, the first chapter, Prathama Khanda, and mantra number 8, Na chakshusha gruhyate napi vacha nanyais devais tapasa karmanava jnana prasadena vishuddha sattvaha tatastutam pashyate nishkalam dhyayamanaha. Several things are mentioned in this mantra. Number 1, Atma is not available for the senses. It is not an object for the senses to be objectified. Number 2, the mind, the way if it is, tries to see the Atma, that mind will never ever be able to see it. The buddhi, if this buddhi is not cultivated, this buddhi will not be able to see the Atma. Vishuddha Atmanastu, over here is said that only the one whose inner equipment is poised, cleansed, the mind has become still, the buddhi has become informed intellect by proper learning from the teacher, that buddhi will be able to see it. Karma also does not allow the Atma to be revealed. At best, what karma can do is, if it is done with proper attitude, it can result in the purity of mind. Jnana prasadena vishuddha sattvaha. The Jnana prasadena. Shankaracharya ji's commentary for this was very, very, very long one, that this Jnana prasad is when what we come to listen in the Vedanta class, the Shravanam, the same Shruti which we have heard, when she chooses to bless us. The blessings of the Shruti is we understand the scripture the way it was intended to be understood, and the greatest blessing of Shastra is when the senses become quiet, so that the mind and the intellect can actually comprehend this very, very subtle Atma. Tatastutam pashyate nishkalam dhyayamanaha. This nishkalam Atma, this immaculately pure, devoid of any parts, devoid of any qualities, that Atma dhyayamanaha, the one who meditates, the one who becomes still, to that person this Atma is revealed. Very important mantra for meditating. Then, continuing mantra number 9. Eshonuratma cetasa veditavyaha. Yasmin pranav panchada samvivesha. Pranaischittam sarvamotam prajanam. Yasmin vishuddhe vibhavatyesha atma. Yasmin vishuddhe vibhavatyesha atma. Eshaha anu atma cetasa veditavyaha. This Atma is to be known by cetasa, by the mind alone. And which kind of mind? that mind which is Vishuddha, the mind which is very pure, the mind which is still, that mind alone is going to come. The mind which is devoid of all the kampanam, all the trembling, and the intellect which is sthir in its understanding, that eshaha anu sukshma, the very subtle chetasa vishuddha jnanena kevalena veditavyaha, exclusively by this vishuddha jnan, immaculately pure knowledge. Pure knowledge is always pure. Knowledge need not purify itself. The purity of the knowledge is when it does what it is supposed to do. That after hearing the Shravanam, it silences the mind and it keeps the senses in the respective field. And in this way, this Vishuddha Jnanena Tadjnanam Prashamakaram Yadindriyanam Seshastute, Shankaracharya ji says in this stotram about the Muni who has Dhyan Swarupam, the one who has acquired the dexterity of abidance in knowledge. What happens? What is knowledge? Tadjnanam prashamakaram yadindriyanam, and that is this Vishuddha Jnanena, knowledge which has silenced the senses, and that knowledge which has stilled the mind. That is called Jnanam. That's why Vishuddha Kevalena Veditavyaha. Kva asau. What is this? Yasmin, where is it? Where is it? Yasmin sharire pranaha vayu panchada pranapanadi bhedena samvivesha samyak pravishtaha tasmineva sharire hridaye chetasa gneya ityarthaha. This Atma, Shankaracharya ji says, where is it to be found? Then it is said, it is in Asmin Sharire, this body. But what kind of body? He says, this Sharir which is enlivened by prana. It cannot be a dead body. Atma cannot be revealed in dead matter. The matter has to be alive. Which one? That Yasmin Sharire Pranaha Vayu Panchada Abhibheden. These five, pranapan, vyan, udan, saman, the whole system is in complete reverberance of the expression of life, is what he is saying. In that, samvivesha, in that it has entered, samyak pravishtaha, very well it has entered, like I even last class, the cave of the intellect. In this entire body which is enlivened by the very Shakti of the Atma itself, and that same Shakti which enlivens the entire body, that Shakti itself specifically enters the very cave of the intellect, and in there Sharire Hrudaye, in this very heart, Chetasa Gneya Ityartaha, with that same intellect, inside the intellect it is to be known. Kidrushena Chetasa Veditavya Ityaha, with what type of Chetas it is to be known. So, Sahendriyaish Chittam Sarvam Antakaranam Prajanam Otam Vyaptam Yena Kshiramiva Snehena Kashtamiva Agnina. Just like a dry log of wood is completely pervaded by fire, simply the fire has to manifest. Just like in every part of the milk, ghee is hidden in it, but that ghee has to be manifested. In the same way, this all-pervading Atma, even though it pervades the whole body, it is not seen. It has to be churned out, and it has to be churned out exclusively by this very purified intellect. That intellect is over here sarvam antakaranam prajanam. It is in all beings, in all sukshma shariras. This atma is very well hidden. Kshiram iva snehena, just like the ghee which is in kshira, the milk. In this way it has to be brought out. Sarvam hi prajanam antakaranam chetanavat prasiddham loke. And how do we know that atma is? That these people are capable of expressing the intelligence. Chetanavat prasiddham. It is the expression of the Chetana Shakti, the expression of all beings. They express life, they express their presence in this world, and the very expression of their thought, their word, their deed, their movement, their intention, their action, all of these things, consciousness is the root cause of the pravrutti of all types of beings, and that itself is the proof that Atma is. Atma is the very progenitor of all types of activities of all people. Yasminscha chitte kleshadimala viyukte. It has to be devoid of all types of kleshaha. There are Pancha Klesha in Yoga Shastra. Patanjali ji talks about the Pancha Kleshas, because of which that dharana, dhyan and samadhi cannot be entered. These gateways of dharana, dhyan and samadhi are heavily guarded by these asuric forces which protect the Atma. Anybody cannot walk into these sacred chambers to see the Atma. These Pancha Kleshas have to be removed. And what are these Pancha Kleshas? Avidya. The ignorance is number one, meaning without Shravanam, Atma is not available. It has to be heard of. Only Shravanam will bring about avidya nivrutti. So this is avidya is number one. Born out of avidya is a great demon called asmita. Asmita is a sense of self being. The ego is known as asmita. That ignorance creates the individuality I, the reflection of consciousness because of the avidya is the ego, and the ego is known as asmita. And this is ahamta, mamata and all these things. The minute ego arrives, ego creates I-ness and minus. Whatever is close to it, it owns up, and whatever is little bit far away from it, it makes an attempt to bring it closer and keep it in possession. This is what the ego does. So asmita. Then naturally, because it has acquired some things which are far, it wants raga, it has liking. And then all things which come, it may not like everything, so it develops dislike for certain things. Dvesh is the fourth one. And the last klesha, the panchama klesha, is called abhinivesh. And abhinivesh is the fear of death. This ego is continuously in the fear that I will die, I will die, I will die. And the sense of limitations which is brought about by the material possession itself creates a suffocating feeling of death. And the fear of death expresses as all fears in life. The root cause of fear is this abhinivesh. These are the pancha kleshaha in Yoga Sutra, 2nd chapter, 3rd sutra talks about all these. Avidya, smita, raga, dvesha, abhinivesha, kleshaha. These are all which is talked about as asmin yasmin chitte kleshadi mala yukte shuddhe viyukte. Viyukte, this chitta, this mind and intellect, devoid of these pancha kleshas. When the mind is viyukta, mala, devoid of this dirt, vibhavyate esha ukta atma visheshena svena atmana vibhavyati atmanam prakashyati ityartha. This atma, second atma, is not required to reveal the first atma. That atma itself knows itself in the intellect. When the pancha kleshas are removed, when the dirt is removed, it is not that another self is required to see. The self is self-evident. It is self-effulgent. And that self-effulgent self shines itself without anything else. And that is how Atma is revealed. It is revealed without any external tantra. Sarva tantra swatantra Atma, it is said. It is independent of all types of equipment, and no equipment is required to know the self. But the entire equipment of the BMI has to work together for the self to reveal itself. The body has to be silenced. Asana Siddhi silences the body. Dhyan Siddhi keeps the mind quiet, and Jnana Siddhi reveals the Atma at the Buddhi. So Asana Siddhi, Dhyan Siddhi and Jnana Siddhi are the three things which are essential ingredients required for the self to reveal itself. And in this way, this Atma is revealed. Now, Atmagnya, the knower of the self, Atmagnya का वैभव और उसकी पूजा का विधान, the knower of the self, the glory of the knower of the self, and what puja should be done to a Mahatma who is the knower of the self. This knower of the self is the self itself. And when we come across the knower of the self, there is a proper conduct that is expected. And Shruti herself tells that what I am talking about, this Atma, in case if there is a person in this world who has the knowledge that I have talked about, not the book knowledge, but to them the self has been revealed, to that person certain type of due respect must be given. And if it is not given, it wipes out our bhagya. And this is the injunction that Shruti says. Yaha evam ukta lakshanam. This spoken lakshanas of the self and how the self is revealed by the equipment which is silence. Sarvatmanam, which is the essence self of all beings. atmatvena pratipannah tasya sarvatmatvad eva sarvapti lakshanam phalam aha. When this person who has known the self of all beings, that self, when they come to know within themselves, pratipannaha, one must come to surrender. Pratipanna, one must come to surrender to this person. Tasya sarvatmat eva, one must come to surrender to that person as the all-knowing self, and the self of all beings culminates in that person. So approaching that person as the knower of the self itself, sarva apti lakshanam, and that person is capable of fulfilling the highest desire of that mumukshu. In case if there is a mumukshu, the one who is desirous of knowing the self, they must seek out a master who is the knower of the self, surrender and get their blessings, because only that person who is none other than Atma can bless Atma. Yam yam lokam manasa samvibhati, vishuddha sattvaha kamayate yanscha kaman, tam tam lokam jayate tamscha kaman, tasmat atmagnyam hyarchayet bhuti kamaha. Is it different in Gurudev's book? Shankar Bhashya is Tasmad Atmagnyam Hirchayet Bhuti Kama. Yam yam lokam manasa yat yam yam lokam manasa samvibhati vishuddha sattvaha kamayate yamscha kama. This whatever desires this man of wisdom has, yam yam lokam manasa samvibhati vishuddha sattvaha kamayate yanscha kama. The man of wisdom, none other than Vishuddha Sattvaha, the one whose equipment is immaculately pure, the one who has done intense spiritual practices of silencing the chariot, silencing the owner of the chariot, and the charioteer is placed in a proper informed manner. The entire equipment, when it is silenced, and when such a person desires, when Vishuddha Sattva, such a person kamayate yanscha kama, whatever he fixes his mind upon, such a person always gets what they want, because the universe is only at the feet of Brahman. The universe is a Shakti of Brahman, and the universe being the Shakti of the Brahman, over here when Brahman culminates as the knowership that I am, Sarvam Khalu Idam Brahman Cha Aham Brahmasmi, when that knowledge takes place, that person is none other than Brahman. Then the desire of that person is no longer the desire. The desire of that person is the Shakti of Brahman. And that Shakti of Brahman has created the whole Prapanch Maya. What can it not deliver? So, the knower of Brahman, that doesn't mean he will ask for all desires, that I want this, I want that. But his desire is the noblest desire, and his desire is a great prayer for the world. And it is only such a person who, whatever yam yam lokam yad vibhati, whatever lokas, wherever they desire, they can end up going, but they have no desire to go anywhere. Because the over here, the person has come to this state by renouncing all desires. And by renouncing all desires, he has actually gained all desires. So just because he has the power to manifest anything and everything, just because this person has the colossal power to make anything appear, that doesn't mean that they are going to. The reason is because they have no desire. By the time the person reaches the state of Brahman, all desires are given up, and when all desires are given up, all desires of all beings of all time become available to him, but he doesn't want it at that time. All he wants is a prayer for the world, that may people be happy. It is from such a state, sarve bhavantu sukhinaha, sarve santu niramayaha, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschit dukkha bhag bhavet. This Maha Mantra of Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, the prayer, is the prayer of the Jnani, that even though all desires are available of all worlds, yet he has no desires. He only has a desire that may everybody be well. And such a person over here, yam yam lokam manasa yad vibhavati, whichever loka and whichever desire in whichever loka that he decides, vishuddha sattvaha samvibhati, whatever can exist, kamayate, he comes to think about. But this is the paradox, that he doesn't come to think about. It is the denizens of all these worlds, they have desires, but he has no desires. Tam tam lokam jayate tamscha kamam. And in those worlds, in those lokas, jayate, victorious will become those worlds just by his blessings. And that is the glory of the man of wisdom. And just by his blessings, all anartha will be removed, and his simple prayer is, may everybody be happy and may all come to this Atma, because he has understood the Atma as the Atma of all beings, and he wants this pure knowledge to be there for everyone. So that is one wish that he has. If at all he has desires, his desires is that let all come to this Atma. Tasmat Atmagnyam, because his nobility is such that he only wants to bless people, to come to it, and he has purified himself. He is the abode of tapascharya. He has walked the path. He knows the hurdles and the obstacles and everything, and such an atmagnyam, knower of the self, the student bhuti kamaha mumukshu, the one who has a desire to attain atma, especially mumukshu. For that mumukshu to find an atmagnya is the greatest saubhagya, and he archayet, you come to worship. And Gurudev very beautifully describes the worship of Guru. Not just that the person takes some water and washes the feet, but implicitly follows the instructions of the Guru, serves the teacher. And the beauty about the service done to the teacher that Gurudev talks about, devotion, live in continuous and unbroken God remembrance and intelligent detachment, in self-control and purity, always cheerful and happy, regular in meditation and in charity, even playing the allotted part of life but never taking it seriously to the heart. This is the secret way of serving a true man of realization. To him, flowers are a criminal waste, Pad pujas are painful nuisance, namaskaras a burning botheration, and crowds of devotees crying and begging, praising and fondling a terrible agony. He's gone through all this. Every week he would be in a different place, and people na karmana na prajaya, the welcome of a yati starts, and then he sees the various things in various places. So if one wants to come to worship the teacher, the worship of the Adhyatma Shastra itself is the worship of the teacher. And he's created this platform. To serve in his platform is serving him. And in this way, this very beautifully, this nirmala antakarana kamayate yamscha kaman prarthayate bhogams. The bhoganscha, Shankaracharya ji says, prarthana of a man of wisdom is he blesses them. He blesses them for whatever it is their need. But Gurudev says a true worship of a man of wisdom, having arrived in front of man of wisdom, is you render him the seva of his teaching. So over here, prarthayate bhogansha tam tam lokam jayate prapnoti tamsha kaman sankalpan tan bhogan. What good does it do when somebody makes a long journey to Sringeri and goes over there and does namaskar to this great Acharya, the seat of wisdom which has been graced in that place for more than 1,000 years. Men of wisdom have sat on that wooden plank over there with no desires, just leading people. These four corners, people go over there and to ask that, may I get a job? What kind of beggary it is in front of a man of wisdom. Shankaracharya ji says, yes, you will get your job. Yes, whatever bhogan tadeva prapnoti tam tam lokam, and you go over there into that loka. But having made this journey to a man of wisdom, ask what should be asked. Shraddha bhakti dhyana yoga davaihi. That please bless me with Shraddha, bless me with Bhakti, bless me with the Dhyan Yoga, so this mind becomes silence. And when such a great blessing is asked in front of the man of wisdom, It is infallible because they sit on the wooden plank sanctified by great souls who have done exactly the same thing, and each one of them becoming apta kama, and at the same time bhuti kama. They have become what all things that they can deliver. And this is the glory of the man of wisdom. Tasmad vidushaha satya sankalpavat atmagnyam atmagnyanena vishuddha dantah karanam Vishuddha antakaranam hi archayet. You are going over there to see such a noble, pure antakaranam. In that person, you will see what the Shastras have talked about. The scriptures, the 4 Vedas are only describing such a person. The 4 Vedas are describing that that state is possible, and having arrived in front of such a person, surrender to that person, Vishuddha Antakaranam, you do namaskar to that Antakaranam. When people go and do namaskar to these great Mahatmas, it is not the body is going to go. It is the Antakarana which they have delivered to Brahman, and in their sits the lamp of Brahman itself. That which is Anuvaniyan, Mahato Mahiyan, Atmasya Janto, Nihito Guhayam, Tamakruta Pashyati Vita Shokaha, Dhatu Prasadat, Mahimanam Atmanaha, Katha Upanishad, and such great places. The glory of the man of realization, whose Vishuddha Sattva, the incredible Jnana Prasadena Vishuddha Sattvaha Tatastu Jatam Nishkalam Atmana. Each Upanishad in different ways is only describing such a person. And when such a person is there, do Sashtang Namaskar. Bhagavan Krishna also talks about, approaching a teacher and doing namaskar and learning from such a person. So, antakaranam hi archayet, pujayate, pada prakshalana, shushrusha, namaskaraadibihi, bhuti kamaha, vibhutim icchantuhu. The one who desires to attain the highest vibhuti, Atma, yes, you do pujayet, pada prakshalanam, yeah, you offer some water, sushrusha, the ones who are desirous of hearing about Atma, ask about Atma. Ask about Atma. Offer little water, and with Namaskar Purvak, you ask about what is this Atma? What is this Atma? Tataha pujarhaha eva asau. This is how the puja is to be done to a man of wisdom. This is the end of the first section of the third Mundaka. We start the last section of the third Mundaka. Again, these are all Nididhyas and mantras. It used to be the famous Vivekanandaji's favorite Upanishad, Guruji's favorite Upanishad, Akhandanandaji Maharaj's favorite Upanishad. Because of all these mantras, one can climb to soaring heights. This is why this is the actual glory of Mundaka Upanishad. Savedai tat paramam brahmadama yatra vishvam nihitam bhati shubram upasate purusham ye hyakamaha.
उपासते पुरुषं ये कामा
ते शुक्रमेतद् अतिवदन्ति धीराः sorry vartanti yes te शुक्रमेतद् अतिवर्तन्ति धीराः beautiful mantra over here. Saha. Who is this Saha? Again the pronoun is used, the man of realization, the man of wisdom. Saha Veda etad paramam brahmadhama yatra vishwam nihitam bhati shubram. This man of wisdom, he knows paramam brahmadhama. He knows the absolute all-pervading Brahman. And usually, we have these 4 char dham yatra and all this. Dham meaning a locus of sanctified place. A place which is sanctified by time and people. Only then it becomes dham. Tirthi kurvanti tirthani. A tirtha is only known as tirtha when great people go over there and make it a tirtha, a place of purified place. So, this man of wisdom, having known this absolute Brahman, he has become the dham of Brahman. When one hears about Shastra, and when one studies Shastra, and when one reflects that this Atma is the self of all and it is all pervading, yet in the knower of the self, it is a solid Brahman. That is what is said. That Paramam Brahma Dhama Yatra Vishwam Nihitam Bhati Shubram. And in there is what makes the whole world shine. This whole world shines because, see, that Brahman is in everyone. But everybody doesn't know that Brahman is right here in me. So the very fact that he knows he is Brahman, in there is the self-awareness. And that self-awareness itself invokes the power of the Brahman. And the power of the Brahman is a colossal Maya of the whole universe. Karoti, akaroti, anyatha karoti Maya power. The power of the universe is right here, right here. In everybody that power is there, but we don't recognize that the power is right here. But he, by knowing his power, is kept underneath his right toe. And just because, and that is the very Shri Yantra which exists underneath the right toe of Rajrajeshwari, because she sits on Brahman. She sits on none other than Sadashiva Kala. So, in that Shri Vidya, the Shiva and Shakti coming to manifestation keeps the entire Brahmand underneath her toe. She can do anything that she wants, meaning her power, his power. And that is what is said over here, that the very power of the man of knowledge, that Maya makes all desires surrendered at the feet of this person. Thus, the Kamakshi, they say that the Kamana is in the eye, but it is in the eye of the beholder, but for her, she keeps it by her feet. The yantra which is by her feet, is the actual bhuti kamaha, the kamana of the whole universe, sanctified right over there by her feet. And this is who the man of realization has become. This yogic body has become the colossal power of the universe. Yatra Vishwam Nihitam Bhati Shubhram. It shines brilliantly in this knower of Brahman. Upasate Purusham Hi Akamaha. This person, he Akamaha. He himself is devoid of all desires, has absolutely no desires. But then, and those men of intense discrimination, having no desires and having no worldly desires, upasate purusham, he comes to worship this absolute Purna Purushottam, that Purna Purusha right here, because of which the pranic Shakti itself keeps the entire body alive. Te Shukram, that itself which is the very seed of all human beings. Shukra and Shonik, the very sperm and egg, when they come together, it is the rudimentary state of procreation, and the creation starts from it. So when it is said Shukrena, that seed is the seed of desire. That desire which creates all other desires, the very human birth, upon coming, and in that child which is growing in due time will become nothing but a packet of desires. But in that human being who is nothing but desires, this Dhira Purushaha has taken all these desires and turned it towards Brahman, and in there the fulfillment of this one human being's all desires going towards Brahman is the fulfillment of all beings of all times and all desires going to the absolute state of fulfillment. And this is what the man of realization has become. This man of realization, he himself devoid of kamana, akamahataha. He has destroyed kamana, but yet he has become aptakama. He has become completely fulfilled, and in that fulfillment there is no desires, yet it is he alone who can fulfill all desires. Ahaha. This is the glory of the one who keeps kamana at the level of the eye. The minute the glance is there, desire is fulfilled, and this is the glory of this Rajrajeshwari, Kamakshi, the one who keeps the very desires right at the tip of her glances, but her glance is enough to take the person to that highest. So the man of self-realization knows the supreme Brahman on whom the whole world rests. By her feet, the entire Shri Yantra which is by her feet, the whole universe is surrendered over there. The Shakti of the entire Maya rests by the feet. Who can take the Shakti and guide it in various directions by a simple glance. And that is the knower of the self who shines radiantly and brilliantly. And those men of discrimination who without any worldly desires are devoted to such persons go beyond all birth and death. If we must surrender in life, we must surrender to such a person. Such a person alone is capable of blessing us, to remove us from this transmigration of birth and death. If he akamaha, the person without any desires, who himself is fulfilled by the very knowledge of the presence of Brahman, and if there is another one who has no worldly desires but has a desire to be over there, come to worship such a man of wisdom. That person, in him the entire transmigration of human life has come to an end. Continuing, mantra number 2. Kamanya kamayate manyamanaha.
Kamanya kamayate manyamanaha.
Sakama birjayate tatra tatraha.
Sakama birjayate tatra tatra.
Paryapta kamasya krutatmanastu.
Paryapta kamasya krutatmanastu.
Ihaiva sarve praviliyanti kamaha.
Ihaiva sarve praviliyanti kamaha.
Again, yaha, he whoever, kaman kamayate manyamana, saha kamabirjayate tatra tatra. Whoever in this world thinks or entertains whatever type of desires in this world, that person will only go over there. If the mind thinks about the world of objects, the mind will go in the world of objects, and it will put all efforts to acquire and procure that object, get it, save it, protect it, and the energy will be over there. That is the flow of the energy. If the mind goes towards the higher, then the mind will do the upasana and the sadhana for going towards higher, and that is the path which will be treaded by that mind. So yaha kaman kamayate saha manyamanaha tatra tatra kamabirjayate, and eventually the person will pass on, and wherever they pass on with whichever desire, that desire will take that person to that place. And this is the autobiography of the universe. The whole universe exists because the desire has made it so alluring in different places. And in those places, people will go. But paryapta kamasya, but the one whose desires have ended. Paryapta kama, one who is completely fulfilled, no desire, not even one desire, is that krutatmanastu, kruta krutya. He feels what is to be done is done, what is to be acquired is acquired, what is to be reached is reached, bas done. Not one desire in the man of self-realization. Thus the equipment is completely still. You imagine a mind with no desire, just still. Ihaiva sarve praviliyanti kamaha. For that person, over here itself is fulfillment of all desires. There is not a place he wants to go. There is not a place he wants to be in. There is not an object that he desires. There is not a situation that he prays that may it go away, or he prays that may it come. Everything is over. He is one solid packet of Brahman available in this Bhuloka. And such a person of solid wisdom, where not even one desire can penetrate and shake it, such a person to find is bhagya of ananta koti janmantara. Thousands and thousands of births in thousands of yugas one goes to find a person in whom all desires have come to an end. The whole universe is a massive river of desires. And in this massive river of desire, we find a person who is desireless, has no desire, completely fulfilled. Not because the grapes are sour, not because he didn't find what he was looking for, absolutely not. This person is completely fulfilled because nothing can add to his Purnatva. He's so complete that not even a drop can add to his joy of complete fulfillment. And that is called Paryapta Kamastu, completely Purna. And that is why he is Jnani, because he knows he's complete, he's fulfilled. We'll continue. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramayah, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschit dukkha bhag bhavet. Om shanti shanti shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. These three shlokas you read and you reread the commentary of Gurudev. So beautiful commentary of Gurudev from